What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you.
Throwdown Nation, we are live on a Wednesday night. We are rolling on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter/X, on Facebook, and on Twitch. It is a rescheduled episode 115 of the Throwdown with Matt, and tonight we are throwing down with New York-based pro wrestler, the bitter Andy Lee Ray. How you doing, Andy?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing, sir?
Man, if I were doing much better, there'd probably be 5 or 6 of me. So
I felt that. I felt that.
So, for those of you that are watching this live, if you have any questions or comments, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first and the most obvious question, Andy, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
I've been wrestling about on and off for roughly about 10 years. So
Nice.
give or take, like I originally started in like 2011 and I stopped at like originally around 2017. Took about a 5-year break from it due to like a whole laundry list of reasons. Came back at like 22 and I've been doing it ever since.
Nice, nice. So I guess initially and over the years, who has trained you?
So originally, my original like first run, because I would like to like first run Andy and second run Andy are two completely different Andys. So for first run Andy, I was in House of Glory. So I was one of the first, I guess, batch of students that came from House of Glory. But like I said, then I left, and currently I'm at Battle Club Pro, the Fallout Shelter, and that place has been just absolutely like amazing.
Gotcha. So, in terms of the early portions of your pro wrestling training, what would you say was the most difficult aspect of professional wrestling for you to wrap your mind and body around?
I would say just the consistency of just doing everything over and over and over and over and over again.
Reps.
Yep, doing the reps. Like I still remember to this day, like I want to say my first or second week, just for 2 hours nonstop, learning the collarbone tie-up, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, just drilling that into my head.
Yep, muscle memory.
Yes.
So, the last week or so, while getting ready for this, I've been doing somewhat of a dive down the Andy Lee Ray rabbit hole, and it looks like you're part of something called the Colossal Collective.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about what and who is the Colossal Collective.
So the Colossal Collective is a group of men and our newest member, Tina. I want to say yes. So basically, of just like people that have been overlooked for like many years, and we're simply about like domination, going in there, making a statement. It's not about wins or losses. It's about making an impact.
Gotcha.
And like it's me, my tag partner, Big Bro Chris Kaluda, and of course our leader, Colossal Mike Law.
Gotcha. The vibe of it really feels very much like what I guess you could either call him Carrion or Killer Cross is trying to do right now. He's tired of being overlooked, and and he's not going to be overlooked anymore. And it sounds like a similar vibe to what you guys are trying to do. Would you say that's pretty accurate?
Very much so. Like very much so. Like just me alone. Like I said, I've been doing this like on and off about like 10 years.
Hmm.
And I just been like overlooked and just been busting my ass for like so many years, just improving in the ring, um, like dieting, gym, just the whole works, just improving like every aspect of this industry and sport.
Absolutely. Speed round. Rusev.
Great body.
Yep. Won't argue that. I'm going to be interested to see what they plan to do with him in this new WWE run that he's starting on. I'm intrigued, because I mean, for the several years he was with AEW, they did virtually nothing with him, and I just felt like missed opportunity. I mean, the guy checks a lot of boxes, so hopefully some good things are ahead for him.
Oh, definite. Like he's definitely a hard worker. You could tell from the way like he like on his body, his body of work overall. You could definitely tell he's a hard worker. Indeed.
For sure, for sure. So, we were talking a little bit before we went on the air, and you did confirm for me then that you've been a wrestling fan, the majority of your life. And you told me a little bit about it off the air, but I'm going to go ahead and ask on the air. What would you say is your earliest wrestling related memory?
So my very first earliest wrestling related memory, I'm sitting on the sofa, I want to say with my uncle, and I remember I'm watching Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I don't remember
Hmm.
who he was facing,
Yep.
but there was just something about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat that just made me like intrigued. And as I kind of like went down this rabbit hole, especially like my family didn't have like a lot of money, we couldn't really afford cable at the time. And I remember WCW would be doing some like random stuff on a Sunday on like a random channel. And I'm
Hmm.
just remembering seeing highlights of like Goldberg, the NW Wolfpack,
Oh
and
yeah.
then when SmackDown came on like UPN, the first match I remember on watching that is like Kane destroying Gangrel. And as time has went on, I just like became like infatuated with it, especially like WrestleMania 17. Whatever, like when at the end of WrestleMania 17, that's when I knew for a fact I was hooked on it for life. I knew one way or another this is going to be something I wanted to do. It was just like everything about that whole show, just like amazing. From Taker, Triple H, TLC 2, Austin, and Rock, like the triple threat match between Raven, Rhino, and Kane. It's just like everything about that show is just like amazing.
Gotcha. So, away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
I would say my biggest one is gaming, in particular, more of retro gaming.
Hmm.
Like I'm a big retro gamer. I have roughly like 8 different like consoles and like in my house. Range from a PS2 to a Dreamcast to a Switch to this gaming laptop, which I'm talking to you through right now.
Nice, nice. So, we're mostly a wrestling related show, but we do dabble a little bit in pop culture here and there, and I'm always looking for recommendations. Are you by any chance watching or listening to anything cool right now?
Um, in terms of listening, there's been an artist which I've been kind of like following up his upbringing, his come ups. His
Hmm.
name is Sawyer Hill. Like great songs. That is someone like I would highly recommend to like listen to, especially the song Firestarter. Highly recommend that. In in terms of shows, honestly, I'm just like very behind on everything.
Hmm.
Just just due to um like all
Life.
just Yes, life in general,
Yeah.
life, wrestling, like all that stuff. Like I barely have time to like truly sit down stuff, except maybe stuff on YouTube. That's about it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most and why?
That is a very good question. Honestly, I have to go with my sister. Like I've seen my sister like been through some dark times, and just seeing how she grew from everything, and just seeing just like the wonderful mother and woman she is. Like, and I told her a lot of times, like, I'm proud of her and I love her. I probably should do it more often, but I do tell her constantly, like, I'm proud of her. So probably my sister.
Gotcha. So, in general, what does your family think about the fact that you are pursuing life as a professional wrestler?
So for one, I definitely say I've been blessed in terms of having a supportive family. The whole thing with them is as long as I was like working hard in school, like I'm taking care of me, taking like if I was a hot mess, if I was a high school dropout or anything like that, I guarantee they wouldn't be as supportive. But the fact that I did such like a good job, like being the first member of my family to graduate high school, and I got my back and like graduated college, like first member of my family. So the fact that I was doing that during my wrestling training as well, like they've been very supportive. Getting
That's
tired of it,
awesome.
but they were
Oh,
supportive.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, like anything else, it's got its ups and downs, but it sounds like you've got a really good support system, and you've got a family that loves you, and not everybody can say that, and so
I'm very
we've
blessed on that.
we've been blessed, man. So we were talking before we went on the air, and you're New York born and bred. What is your favorite thing about New York City?
That as much as you love this city, you also hate the city at the same time. It's such a love and hate thing. And like every time I travel on the road, I'm reminded just how different New York really is. Like it's such a weird phenomenon because you have so many cultures, you have so many people. You have the MTA subway, which range from okay to you're just cursing out the MTA because they never like work on time. You have the convenience of the bodegas, the stores, and then you have like supermarkets. You have a whole bit of everything, and I've seen this a lot online, and I have to agree. New York, we are kind but not nice. Like they will help you out as they cursing you out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually yourself turned up to 11. So tell us about in ring Andy Lee Ray. Tell us about the bitter and kind of compare and contrast him with everyday you.
Well, the best way to like kind of explain it, like I said, it's I'm bitter, right? In terms of
Yeah.
relax, kitty. Sorry, one of my cats was about to, like hop on here. But yeah, in like I said before, like I've been doing this for 10 plus years, on and off, since 2011. Went from one place to a to a current place to where I'm at right now, which is Battle Club, the Fallout Shelter, and just constantly just working my ass off, getting my body into shape, just being stronger than ever, and just having just like I'm working, and I'm like, when are the seeds of success going to start brewing. Like, I've been doing this for so long. Like, why? Like, the most infuriating thing is like people would tell me, "Oh my God, you are so good, A, B, C, and D," but then I turn around and nothing's happening.
Right.
And you know what the difference is? I am done waiting for my opportunities. I am now taking my opportunities. These opportunities, if I sit and wait, they're never going to happen. So I'm going to do what I need to do. So if I need to drop a few people on their heads for things to get done, then
You're
few
going to
people
do
will
it.
get dropped in their heads, kicked to the face, maybe thrown around. In either case, the waiting, the sit and wait approach, be a good little boy, those days are over.
Yep. You are done being a good soldier.
For real. Hasn't got me anywhere.
So, tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts? Lay it on us. Tell us about the very first one.
So, my very first professionally real train match, not like messing around with whatever stuff, but in terms of my very first professional train match, it was me with another hot indie star, Anthony Gangone. Love you, sir. With Mark Quinn, also love you, sir. And another guy who no longer is around before, and it was a tag match. I was given a not so good gimmick at the time. That's part of the good soldier stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like my whole thing was to just make sure just try my best, do everything well. Extremely nervous because I believe they told me like maybe 2 days before the show. They told me 2 days before, hey, listen, we're gonna put you in this. We're gonna put you with him. You two are gonna face Mark Quinn and his other tag team partner at the time, which at that time we was all still training together, so we were all still super new. So it was kind of like I believe at that point Gangon had at least like two, maybe three matches in, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to say Quinn and the other guy also had like at least like two matches as a team officially. So it was definitely like a weird but a good like feeling. So my first time like professionally in a ring, I was with people I was training with. So it was nervous. The match went okay. It went okay
Gotcha.
considering it was like four roughly green people.
Gotcha. And that's the same Mark Quinn from Private Party?
Yep.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So we've heard about the first match. Now, if you can narrow it down, tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of.
I'll do one better. I'll point out to what I believe has been my most significant important match,
Okay.
which happened in November. Which
Okay.
happened in November. So Battle Club was invited to do the special Day of the Dead show with the Queen's Museum,
Hmm.
um, celebrating a luchador who had retired 10 years previously, and was just doing this whole big special event. I'm really mad I forgot his name. I'm sorry you're watching this, but it was that particular match that honestly at the point, and I didn't even get a chance to it was me. It was me and Mike Law. This was our first time tag. This was our first time tagging. This was before I became a member of the Colossal Collective versus Jacko and Brian Baum. And we just basically went out there. When we went out there, me and Mike Law had a lot of chemistry. Everything just vibed very well. And the reason why that particular match was very important to me, because if that match did not go well, if I didn't have like the really good feelings, I never told him this, but I was very close to like being done with wrestling if that didn't go well. Like if that didn't go well after December, in January I was gonna say, hey, I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm out. But no, everything just matched well. Everything with me and him just felt magical. The match went really good. Very high paced match. If anyone does on my Instagram, that's like the highlight that's like that's one of my pinned highlight videos of just all the crazy stuff that was going on. So that match was probably the most important match at the moment for me at the moment, because that is the match that decided if I was going to continue or if I was just gonna like end it by the end of last year. And obviously everything went good, and it was definitely like a big wake up call. Like do that match and everything. So far I lost like 40 so far I lost about like 40 pounds. Um getting in the best shape possible, being tagged up with him and just the rest of the Colossal Collective, being in a group in a team that we all match very well. We have very similar mind goals. We have similar mindset. Because the one thing that is not talked about a lot with when it comes to tags or factions and stuff like that is, can you have real trust? And I'm not talking about, oh, can you trust them in the ring? Can you trust them in if you and that person or you and that group can go to place B, place A, do this? Do everyone has that same goals? Do you believe in, like, do they have the same hustle as you? And I can honestly say that they have earned my trust very much, and I'm very confident in the future of the Colossal Collective.
That's awesome. And, having that kind of trust, that kind of chemistry, and that kind of friendship is not something that comes along every day. So, it's a beautiful thing when you find something like that.
Most definite.
Speed round. John Moxley.
Phenomenal.
Yep. Yeah, the guy has definitely been around. He's put his body through the ringer. I mean, um, I was actually talking to a recent guest about this. I don't know if you're much of a reader, but if you have the opportunity, Mox has written a book that is actually surprisingly really well written, and actually I learned a ton about him and about life in general. So, if you're a reader at all, Moxley's book is worth your time.
What's the name of it?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember. It's basically an autobiography. I later on I'll look it up and I'll message you with it. But it's definitely worth your time. He tells a lot of great stories, and really gives you a lot of insights into his life that I don't think he he's not a terribly open guy. And the fact that he was willing to sort of open his life up in a book format was actually pretty cool.
As someone that's also very much private in terms of real life, I completely understand that.
Yeah. Yep. So I know everybody has them, but what is your biggest in-ring pet peeve?
Repeating a spot. Like I'm definitely blessed to a point that I've gotten to a point that if something that messes up, that I'm able to just rearrange it or just do something else on the fly. Especially if it's the end. Like if if the finish doesn't go well, like just hit me with something else. If I felt like, or if I hit a move and I feel like it didn't like go well, I'll be like, yo, kick out. I'm gonna hit you with something else. Or I just hate when I just hate when, because the moment you redo the spot exactly, the disbelief goes out the window. Especially in the end. Because my job as a wrestler is not to make you think wrestling is real, but make you think everything I do is real. And if I'm making you believe everything I do in there is real, if we do something, it's not as clean, and we do it again, like, now what?
Yeah. By the way, I just hopped on Google briefly, and Moxley's book is just called Mox. So,
Duly noted.
yep. So, if you could only be one, would you rather be great in the ring or great on the mic?
Mike.
Why?
Because the in-ring work can always be improved. Can always be improved, and is a lot easier to improve than the mic.
Yeah.
Mic skills make superstars.
Yeah. Yeah, I will definitely agree with you. You know, that question has actually been interesting. I've asked it on every episode, and it's honestly been like a 50-50 split. And everybody has their reasons for why they choose one or the other. And it's always just interesting getting people's thoughts on that particular topic, because you know, if you happen to be somebody who is really gifted in both areas, you can almost write your own ticket. And it's interesting, seeing some of the people who are really strong in one aspect, but maybe not as strong in the other. To see those people um, put in the work to improve in the other. And I'll use as an example MJF. He came in with just otherworldly mic skills, but wasn't the necessarily the most solid guy in the ring. But over the last few years, I feel like the guy has really put in the work and is now a pretty solid in-ring performer as well. And on the opposite end, you had Will Ospreay, who just otherworldly in the ring. But when he was in Japan, they didn't really have him talk much. But now in this AEW run, the guy is proving he's amazing on the mic as well. And I just love to see the people that are strong in one area really do the work and become phenomenal in both aspects. I just think that's the coolest thing in the world.
It definitely is, especially since some people find talking on a mic, doing promos, talking to a crowd, the most terrifying thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely up to you to to get over that fear, to do that, because at the end you could be great in the ring, you could be great on the mic. You need a combination of both.
Yep.
So it's up to the individual to figure out which aspect they're strong, which aspect they're weak, whether they're both weak in some parts, whether they're both strong in some parts. Just get that good balance to get that complete package.
Gotcha. So, in terms of your in-ring work and your promos, who or what would you say are some of your influences? Who have helped shape Andy Lee Ray into the wrestler that he is today?
Well, besides my obvious trainers over at the Fallout Shelter, with Jorge Santi, Mike Law, Masha, Amen, Steve Pena, Akira, just all besides all those like fantastic coaches. I would say in terms of in top of the head, Samoa Joe, Finley, um, Regal, Austin, Jerry the King Laura for sure, especially when it comes to my strikes. Nick Bockwinkel, Dory Funk Jr. Like I just take a little bit of like different aspects as you can kind of tell from my head range.
Yeah.
Just like itty bits stuff, like maybe learn some of my technical skills from like the old school like 70s and 80s. A little bit of the more modern of like Samoa Joe. It's just grabbing like hits pieces here and there to try to get the package that you see today.
Got you. Speed round. Eddie Guerrero.
All-time goat.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You know, I love getting on the web and just jumping into the Wayback Machine and just looking at just the amazing talent that Eddie was, and he's one of those that's just unfortunately was gone way too soon, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the fact that we've lost Sabu. I mean,
I know that it's crazy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Particularly when he just had his retirement match, and the guy was only 60. Just whew. Wow.
It honestly is. It really is sad when you see just so many like great legends just pass away like so early.
Yeah.
Like it would it be like Eddie, Sabu, just wow, I cannot remember anyone else on the top of my head. Like Bam Bam and stuff like Bam Bam
Yeah.
Bigelow, just other people like that. It's just it makes you sit down and appreciate like the people around you more,
Oh, for
and
sure.
and especially when especially you're blessed to be in the locker room with some of these legends. It just makes you to remind like take a picture with them.
Yeah.
You don't always have to like post it. Take a picture for your own personal archives.
Yep.
That
Yep.
that is one that is the biggest thing for me between my first run and my second run. My first run, I was kind of like told, don't do that because it's gonna make you look like instead of being a wrestler, you're gonna look too much like a fan.
Yeah. You're
But
gonna look like a mark.
yeah, and now looking back, I'm like, ew, there was so many pictures of like just so many people I admire and like study still to this day, and like why was I so dumb and not take pictures with them?
Yeah.
But now like when I'm in like a locker room with them, like I'm making sure I'm taking a picture. Like I'm not posting it because
Yeah.
the world doesn't even see it. It's just for my own
Right.
personal like stuff.
Exactly. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that you can have watched it a million times and you just still find yourself going back to it, and there's always some new little something you can pull from it.
Um, two particular matches.
Okay.
I go with the most obvious one, and then I'm gonna go with one that's not as talked about as much. The first,
Can I guess what the most obvious one is? I've got a feeling.
yes, go ahead.
Um, is it Undertaker Shawn Michaels from Mania 25?
Yes, that's the obvious one.
Okay. The whole reason I brought that up is that is probably the most referenced match when I asked that question, and I just had to see if you had the same one in mind, because man, that match is a masterclass.
Definite. And the second one, which is actually is my all time favorite match of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I just remember the third one. But my favorite match of all time is Stone Cold versus Triple H, Three Stages of Hell, No Way Out, 2001.
Nice.
it was just something about the grittiness and the storytelling between Triple H and Austin, just going through all three stages. The traditional wrestling match, which was just a brawl, the street fight just went insane, and then of course the absolute madness that is that steel cage, and just that ending of them just like falling on top of each other. Triple H might have won, but no one really won that war.
Yeah.
And my number three
Hmm.
is AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Unbreakable, TNA.
Yep. That's another great one. You know, one that I always mention, and when I have young wrestlers on, especially, I always make mention of this match. And in my opinion, this match is it's another one of those. It's just a masterclass in storytelling. And this is back from 1989. It was an I Quit match between Ric Flair and Terry Funk at a WCW Clash of the Champions. I don't know if you've seen that match, but if you haven't, you'll thank me later. It is just amazing, and I mean, those two guys are nothing but legends. I mean, and Flair and Funk really just told a great story in that match.
I have not gathered a chance to see that. I have watched obviously a lot of Flair matches.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually have watched more Dory Funk Jr. than Terry Funk, which is a weird anomaly.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, who are the best male and female wrestlers in the world right now? Who's the best man and who's the best woman?
That's a lovely question.
It is.
Um. Wow. Honestly, that question it is like extremely difficult because it's if I as a fan, I have to look at it as a fan
Hmm.
because as a wrestler, I cannot answer that because there's just so many. But if I had to go strictly as a fan of the sport, I've always been a giant fan of Seth Rollins.
Hmm.
And in terms of for in terms of the women, that is equally as hard. I really like Bianca. I really like Bianca. I really love Bianca. Like Bianca, Io. That's really a lovely one. I guess I have to go with Bianca if I just strictly from a fan standpoint.
Gotcha. So this can be present day or past. Who would be a dream opponent? Who would Andy Lee Ray love to share a ring with?
Um, One of my all-time personal top five goats who still does stuff right now, Samoa Joe.
Hmm.
Uh, because I even done like a seminar with him, and Samoa Joe is easily one of the coolest like one of the coolest people I've ever met. In terms of like meeting your heroes, he was definitely one of them. Like I did a seminar with him, and then the next day, this was right before he got signed to WWE. I believe it was like actually the last weekend, like before he got signed, and he was like doing something. I think the Killer Tree between him and Chris Dickerson, like that whole weekend trilogy.
Hmm.
And I just remember like I asked Joe if he watched my match, and then like afterwards, after he had some time, just me and him talking about the match, just talking about wrestling and stuff for a solid like 30 minutes. Like like they say don't meet your heroes. He was one of my heroes, and I'm very happy to like have met and talked with him. And if I had to put like other, and I guess like other dream opponents, probably like Austin and Taker, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of just other people, anyone that when I'm done with that match, I'm better. Anyone I can learn from, because I'm definitely at the point that I just want to face people that's going to make me better. Like at the end of the
Gotcha.
day, I just want to improve. I want to be the best wrestler, sports entertainer, in ring competitor, whatever the term you use these days, or whoever
Mm-hmm.
you personally. I just want to be better every single time I step into that ring.
Gotcha.
Doesn't matter who.
Gotcha. You know, Samoa Joe has always struck me as, I mean, I haven't met the guy, but he has always struck me as somebody who just seems extremely genuine. And, uh, so I'm not surprised at all to hear you say what you just said about him, because I mean, he just seems like that kind of guy. And as you were talking about the whole never meet your heroes kind of thing. I had an interesting encounter several years ago, and it was kind of a random thing because I didn't really expect to run into him in this particular circumstance, but I was actually at a comic book convention here in Atlanta, and on the show floor, over in a far corner of the floor, and I, he was there as a guest, but that particular convention, it was like nobody really knew who he was, so he was being completely left alone. But I ended up getting to go and basically stand and have about a 30-minute conversation with Raven. And the sweetest, most gracious man. And it was funny, I was just kind of standing there with him, and people were just walking by, and I'm sitting here having this conversation with this guy who was, as far as I'm concerned, is just a legend. And I mean, to have that opportunity was just so cool, and just such a great guy. So
I met
yeah.
I met him once. Didn't really have like a good conversation, long conversation with him. But yeah, he is extremely cool. Like he is extremely nice and cool guy. So I would have to testify for that as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I was always a huge fan of his promos. And the thing that I liked about him, and I feel like he sort of came from the Jake Roberts school of promos, in that he would rarely raise his voice, but he could project quiet menace by just telling you what he was going to do to you, rather than just screaming and foaming at the mouth and veins sticking out of your head. They say fear the quiet ones. And and I've always dug that promo style more than somebody just ranting and raving. So
As someone that has tried to do that promo style, it is definitely a lot harder than it looks.
oh, I'm sure. So what is your favorite move? What is something you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do, or you would at least rather not do? And that can be giving or receiving.
In terms of my favorite moves, I would say my drop kick and my catch Saito.
Hmm.
And the reason why I say particular catch is because I know I look strong, but I'm stronger than what I look.
Hmm.
So I take a lot of pride in literally like catching someone, flipping them around, and go wee. Also, as someone who is a big boy,
Mm-hmm.
I have a surprisingly really high drop kick. I believe the highest person I've kicked, like whether to the like close to like to the neck, whatever, was 6'5".
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes, it took so many years to work on that.
No doubt. No doubt. So, you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure this applies. So, I'm going to ask what hurts right now? Or should I maybe ask what doesn't hurt?
Um, I would say the big one's probably probably the injury that affects a lot of wrestlers, the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not saying which particular shoulder, but one shoulder hurts like more than the other, which is ironically because I work out my shoulders so much because I've always had like a weak shoulder.
Gotcha.
So it's
Gotcha.
a sweet irony in that.
No doubt. So, what is your take on the role that social media is playing as a promotional tool in wrestling, specifically independent wrestling?
Just like with everything with social media, is a double-edged sword.
For sure.
Like when done correctly, it could be an amazing thing. Like like for instance, like one of my coaches and the leader of the Colossal Collective, Mike Law,
Hmm.
he has gone viral a few times. Like one of his big moments, like he was in a battle royale for Magic, and there was just a lot of people. So one of the things he does is he has a giant barbell called Barbie. He walks it with anywhere. So he just walked up to the ring, went to the second rope, threw it on everyone, and everyone couldn't get up.
Nice.
So it's moments like that in which it's a great thing to go viral, but at the same time, you have to be like extra careful with yourself to a point that you have to like. As we know, when you're young, sometimes you say stupid things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say stupid things. Culture changes. So something that you said when you was 18 and you're like 30 could be. Some people have a lot of free time in hands and just find out something that you said when you was like in 16, 17, post it out there, and the next thing you know, you have to do a whole campaign of apologizing for young teenage you. But
Yep.
also at the same time too, that life happens. Life
Yep.
happens. People get angry, and sometimes they say or tweet stuff. As we have seen it from the highest level of like the industry to like everything else in life. That sometimes you say stuff, you tweeted it out, or you posted it out, and then you delete it like 5 minutes later because you realize maybe I should have said that. So it's a double-edged sword, but it comes down to accountability as well. So it's a great thing when you do it correctly. And this is the big advice I would have for people that like when you're angry and you just want to post something, write it out,
Yep.
delete it.
Yep. 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 And that's the thing, about social media and just the internet in general. Once it's out there, it's out there. I mean, and it can come back to haunt you, days, weeks, years, decades later. So yeah, you've just got to really be careful and be mindful and thoughtful about what you're going to do. So, knowing everything you know at this point in your life, Andy, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
the two biggest things: work out consistently, never stop,
Yep.
and second, be loyal, but don't be blindly loyal.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Smart. Speed round. Adam Cole.
Baby!
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, he's made a career of that. That's for sure.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
So, do you have any pre-show traditions? Any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Um, like I definitely like just have a whole match in my head. Like I have a whole match in my head. I do the whole motions. Even if we even if we don't call anything, I'm just like just going over some of the things I might do. Just going over like just some things like that. Um, Obviously I try to like when I have the time, I would definitely try to stretch and stuff like that. But that's the big thing is for me to kind of go over in my head and not just and most importantly go over where can I do a taunt, where can I address the audience, where's this time for me to breathe and absorb them, like, okay, this is the opportunity to, like, okay, what is the vibe? Are they booing me? Are they liking me? Do they care? Do I need to bring them back? Is it some person in the corner trying to go over for themselves and I need to do my best to bring them back? So that's a big thing for me.
Got you. Got you. So, give us a quick rundown. What all do you carry in your gear bag? Do you have anything unusual? What's in the bag?
Um, my gear bag is basic. It's honestly it's just mostly my gear. Um, my gear, depending of how long the trip is, my charger. I used to I used to carry my Switch sometimes. I guess if I'm gonna be like on a airplane or something like that, I might have my Switch or just something to keep me busy for that. But besides that, my gear bag is very basic. Uh, just just my gear. Maybe I have um the the detergent like sprinkle things because I sweat a lot. So
Hmm.
so I don't want my bag to be smelling before I get home.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just put some of that stuff so when I open my bag, like from like after like a 3 4 hour like ride and stuff like that, after being all sweaty, I don't want to be like open and be like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
that's about it. I'm basic when it comes to that.
Gotcha. So something we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. And so my guest last night was a wrestler based here in Atlanta by the name of Herculon Rage. And the question that he posed, and it's kind of a loaded one, but he asked, who are some of the best promotions you have worked for and why?
Hmm, that's a good one. I feel like it's cheating, but I I really have to say Battle Club Pro really has been the best promotion I've been in that has truly treated me right. I have to go a little. I have to do a little background on why like I feel so strongly, I guess, for them. Because as I stated early in the very beginning, this is my second run in professional wrestling.
Right.
So so after my first run ended, when I was coming back, my whole thing wasn't to be in one location because I was in a previous place that didn't work out, and I had like a whole laundry list of reasons on why I had to leave the business for like those 5 years, and 5 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember just one day, like I'm just going to different schools. Like
Right.
I'm going to Battle Club. I'm going here. I'm going here, and this, just to remind people, hey, I'm back. Right. So I remember one day I'm at the Fallout Shelter Battle Club, and the students did something like they did something that got everyone in trouble, and everyone had to like run a mile. And then after they run a mile, it was like nonstop running, like running blow up drills for like the next 2 to 3 hours.
Right.
I ended up throwing up like 2, 3 times. I said to myself, "This is the place for me because this is going to be the place that's going to push me." And to go back to what I was saying earlier about the blind loyalty, right? I made sure like, okay, this place is good. I won't be blind loyal to them. If I feel like things are not going right, I will step away. I can firmly say that no, this place has been legit. Like it's been like the first place to say we are family. When I first heard that, I had PTSD from my other place because I hear family and I go, should I start running now or later? But this place has definitely proven to treating me well. My favorite thing is if there's been any nonsense, there's been any toxicity, they get kicked out. This place does not play. This place does not play that. Something toxic, you get out. Something toxic, you get out. But so Battle Club is easily like the best place I've been in. I guess other places from my past that has treated me well. Ace has been Ace. The few times I worked with them, like very early in my career, it was a good place. American Championship Wrestling in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like they've been in good spots. Other places that I've been to have been good. Um, this very rare place, this very rare instance. So I could say a place has been bad, and if they have been, I don't give them any light of day.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question you would like to pose to the next guest?
What was their best experience when calling something on the fly?
That's a really great question. How would you answer that?
So, so for me, um, there's two parts. So I remember this is at the very end of my very first run.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was at this point I was about to walk out the door, and this promotion, I'm not gonna say the name. I don't even think that exists anymore. But in any case, I'm not gonna say the name. But long long story short, I was told one thing way beforehand, and when I got there, I got told like three other things was gonna happen. And at this point, and like the person I was gonna face, me and him already faced each other like multiple times, but he was still kind of like I had like maybe like 4, 5, 6 years at the moment at that time. He only had like maybe like one or two.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a very like angry, petty kind of mood, so I just straight up looked at him and like, we're gonna call everything in the ring. He was terrified, but the match overall came out like really good. And I would say another example would be recent to one of my Battle Club tapings. I'm not gonna say which opponent because it's up to you to try to figure that out, which because you're not. But me and him completely forgot what was gonna next. Like we both was down. We both said, "Yo, I forgot the next spot." Me too. But you would never tell. You would never tell. We was just working it until like, oh, now remember, do this.
Yeah.
So yes. So I'm proud. So I'm proud of my performances on that.
Yeah, I think they call that fake it till you make it.
I just chalked it up to like experience.
Yeah, for sure. So we're pretty much at the end of things now. So do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Of course. So I actually have I'm actually debuting to a new company this Saturday, and it is called NEPW Northeast Pro Wrestling.
Nice.
Where is I am horrible at that. So, but that's the name. But that is the name of that. But also, I have I have some big stuff with Battle Club coming up at the end of this month on May 31st in the Bronx, New York. As it was promoted as of today, actually, it was promoted as today. I'm in a fatal 4-way tag match.
Nice.
I just want to make sure I get all the good things. Want to make sure I'm saying very proper. Give me a second. So on Saturday, May 21st, May the Villain Reign 2 Battle Club presents is gonna be the Colossal Collective, me and my partner Big Bro Chris Kaluta versus the Uptown Boys versus the Golden Glovers and FPS. Also on top of that, and another big show coming up on Saturday, June 21st, is gonna be Jobber Slam. And Jobber Slam is our big show. Is a joint production with Jobberteers. So I may have some big things going on for that show as well. And for anyone that goes to Brooklyn Comic Con, keep your eye out. That's what I'm gonna say.
Nice. Well, as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, tomorrow, the 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 120 with a wrestler by the name of Blade Brown. And then this Sunday, the 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 121 with a fellow pro wrestling podcaster, Gage Vineyard, the Cincinnati wrestling enthusiast. And then Monday, the 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I've got episode 122 with a wrestler by the name of Player One, Johnny Cass. And at this point, I'm actually booked up through pretty much getting close to the end of June. So, and I try to sort of announce everything about a week in advance, but some really good stuff is coming down the pike. So I'm definitely excited for these next 6 weeks. There's really man, this thing is growing, and I'm just excited to be along for the ride.
And I appreciate joining that ride.
Well, dude, this has been an absolute pleasure. So thank you for your time. And, I do want to put up here. I've got a QR code for my link tree that has the links to all of my various social media. So, you know, if you're watching this, definitely click on that and you know, get on all of the socials and give me a follow. And I've also got a merchandise store that just has t-shirts, coffee mugs, etc. And you know, if you like what we're doing here, you know, it's a way to support the channel. And I've also again, you know, if you like what we're doing here and you want to help offset production costs, you can click on this QR code, you know, buy us a coffee and just help this whole thing to continue growing. And in the meantime, go ahead.
Sorry, someone decided to like interrupt
Nice.
us. This is Cupcake.
Hello, Cupcake. She's the one that you said you found in the trash?
Yes, this is my little trash baby.
Well, she just looks as sweet as she can be. So that's
Sweetest
awesome.
Cupcake.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, before we wrap this up, do you have any final words, Andy?
Sorry. Final words. Keep your eye on the Colossal Collective.
Nice.
We're taking over one day at a time. Whether it be Battle Club or just professional wrestling, keep your eye on us.
Absolutely. So until tomorrow night at 7, everybody be good to each other, love each other, and let's keep throwing down.